Picture this. You wake up feeling rested and fresh with inspiration from the dream world. There's a sense of life force stirring inside of you that knows how to cleanly orient yourself through the day. The sound of birds is nature's music in your ears as fresh, cool air kisses your face, carrying the ethers that ride on the cutting edge of consciousness. You take a few moments to intentionally relax and just be, allowing yourself to find harmony between the past and what exciting opportunities the day will bring. Every aspect of your environment around you supports a mood of remembering your divine nature, your calling, and the simple things that bring you delight. You pour yourself a glass of the freshest, structured water that hydrates you and invigorates you with enhanced intelligence as you prepare a simple yet nutrient-dense and delicious meal. Your home is a sanctuary nestled in nature with all the luxuries of modern life that symbiotically honor the natural world. Your heart is full, your mind is clear, and your body is energized and prepared to engage with your deepest form of service. Whether that's gardening, working the land, creating art, empowering others, or just studying a subject that you truly love, you know that your time is being spent on the things that matter most. There's little room for drama, admin's handled efficiently, and the people in your life are colorful and vibrant, expressing their unique signature while honoring just how much of an individual you are as well. This is a life of alignment. There's still growth, there's still challenges at times, but it's all manageable because you know exactly who you are and you fearlessly move and breathe from this place each and every moment. More importantly, the world around you is getting better and better. People are real, nature is regenerating, and the military-industrial complex is a faint whisper of the past. But that's not the world you're currently experiencing right now. There's seeds of this reality, but you experience emotional turbulence, scrolling on social media, wondering what's going to happen next, confused about your priorities in life, and feeling overwhelmed by the demands of the day. Money comes and goes, leaving a sense of unease and uncertainty about the future. Every action you take is seeded with duality, a hope for a better future, and the need to brace yourself against the next coming storm. This can create a sense of instability, where you find yourself operating more out of survival mode than your effortless expression. Sure, you've tasted parts of the infinite, but how do you live them in each and every moment? Where can you find the answers that will just get you into the greater slipstream of the conscious evolution of life? Well, it all lies in the gap, and we've all got a gap, a feeling of sitting between two stools. The no man's land between the life we left behind and a complete trust and feeling of support by nature's intelligence in the life that is promised. And this gap is good, though it may feel like a chasm. It's how we grow, learn, and develop in life so that we can soften and relinquish ourselves of the past karmic patterns that have been written into our ancestry. This gap symbolizes our inner work, the hero's journey, the one quest worth taking, because it promises a lasting sense of freedom. But it seems really big, and no one really has directions for how to cross this treacherous terrain. This gray area is untraversed and completely specific to us. We look for guides, but they can only take us so far. We turn to teachers that tell us how to cross their own gap, and the journey can feel so hopeless and lonely at times, but a part of us knows it must be done, and this journey must be done alone. Passage cannot be bought. There is no ferryman waiting to whisk us away to the other side. We must walk the path ourselves. But the universe is not a cruel place. Nature is impeccable. And if we know where to look, we might just find the perfect map to help us cross our own chasm. But before we can take another step on this journey, we need to know where to start. Know thyself. Glib advice, but powerful words. Some people choose to attain this inner knowledge with long hours spent in meditation. They go inwards and feel through all the layers of discomfort and tension and illusion until they reach their pearl of inner wisdom, the one that lies at the center of their being. Others prefer adventure and consciously using their external varied experiences to mirror back self-knowledge. While these paths are both beautiful and powerful, they require time away from our lives. This may not be practical. Fortunately, the modern householder is one click away from their inner wisdom. Systems such as astrology and human design allow you to leverage the placement of stars at your time of birth, a cosmic roadmap of sorts to help you cross this inner chasm. But these systems run deep, and to receive the practical wisdom that will guide your right environment, food, activity, livelihood, circle of friends, and relationship choices, you must commit to learning these crafts deeply. Or find an intuitive and clear reader of these systems to work with your best interests at heart, and prompt you with the right questions and contemplations at the right time to help you recalibrate the nest of entanglements that you have found along this journey across the gap. You'll have to overcome the doubts. How can this system tell me about myself? Is this even the real me? How do I decode these complex esoteric riddles? Some will call you woo-woo, ridicule you, and remark how irrational and unscientific your chosen approach is. You'll have to be courageous and committed, but eventually the path will reveal itself. The shortest distance, the passable route through this chasm towards the life that you so deeply long for. There will be moments along the way of deep peace and inner knowing, like the spring of an oasis in the deep desert. Take refuge, nurture yourself deeply in these moments of sanctuary, for the journey is not yet done. It may seem long and the advice cryptic. You may even try to force yourself into a version of you that reflects the revelations of your chart, until you realize one thing. It's not about the chart, and this gap was never wide. It was never far, because the kingdom of heaven was always a hair's breadth away, but not a hair in distance, a hair of frequency. You'll learn that the biggest distance traveled will come from taming the smallest part itself, the quantum. You'll relax so deeply that the darkest recesses of your imagination will pour forth and reveal to you its unmet needs and longings. You'll find yourself at the switchboard of your subconscious mind, able to directly adjust what you thought was hardwired and unchangeable. And when that happens, a new you will leap forth with a freshness that the world has never seen the likes of. A smile will cross your face as you climb the far cliff of the chasm with ease, filled with vigor, inspiration, and a sense of mastery plucked directly from the collective field. This was the shift you were waiting for. You went deep to find the inner gold, and it rewarded you with a quantum leap that changed everything. You even made the last leg of the journey look easy. Others marvel, oblivious to the amount of toil and confusion that befell you in the beginning. Yes, it's always difficult in the beginning, but your commitment was a form of spiritual resolve, building as you went from one failed approach to the next until you found that personalized inner map, hit the Schumann resonance, and took the final leap. Now you stand in disbelief. Is it over? Will this end? Can life really be this easy? It can. But to sustain this, you simply need to cultivate those habits that will continue to serve you in the long run. Habits rooted in personal experience. Habits that reflect deep wisdom that can only be gleaned through life experience. The type that will allow you to be a pillar of strength and fortitude in those moments of collective disturbance and upheaval. And that, my friends, is when you will find unity. It's the journey we're all looking to take in one way or another. The way in which we all walk each other back home. Some go quickly, some go slowly. So I hope you enjoyed this little creative exploration of the inner journey. It's just a reflection of my own experience and what I've witnessed in the people that I've been fortunate enough to help in my own experience. So I want to take a moment to break this down into some practical terms for you to understand, because I know that the last part of this was quite a editorial, you could say. And so ultimately I feel that this is such an important journey that, sometimes we need a little bit more than sort of an artistic expression. So this is really the journey of individuating into our own heartfelt creative passion. And it's really the one that I feel everyone should take in their own way. It's also a time that's quite ripe in history for fully stepping into our individuated power. And I'll talk about that later in another video. So there's essentially three parts to this journey. So part one is know thyself. Part two is the process that allows you to make the shift. And part three is, of course, the maintenance and keeping this going in the long run. So as I described earlier, there's many ways to know thyself, but I feel like a proper astrological reading or human design chart can give people a lot of great insight. Charts come in many shapes and sizes, but ideally you'll gravitate towards the one that feels right for you. You're also going to want to treat this as an experiment and allow yourself to go sufficiently deep until you feel like it reflects who you really are at a fundamental level. Because that's the fractal of who you are becoming or meant to become. So next up is the process. And the process is an interesting one because I usually hear after a chart reading from people, they get excited. They're like, well, how do I live the potential of my chart? And you can either experiment and try out new things like living somewhere different or a new diet or, ending a relationship, starting a relationship, whatever. That's good. But the problem sometimes is that we don't assess the energy that we're starting these things because the energy we seed and experience with, especially in the beginning, is going to determine how it ends. So if it's seeded with neediness or fear or seeking, it can lead to results that are quite exhausting, time-consuming, and flat out undesirable. So I personally recommend that we get into the right energy in order to take inspired or aligned action first. And so to do this, I have a specific meditative process that's called quantum leaping. And I've kind of developed this in my own way because some of the quantum leaping out there is quite mind-based and it's more about controlling your life versus surrendering into something so much greater. So with this type of quantum leaping, basically what you do is you just relax and you prompt your subconscious mind or your higher self to directly give you the rhythm and energy of another version of you that's already got this thing figured out, that's already living in full alignment. So you get that information, you get that energy, you get that rhythm, and you bring it into the life that you're currently living today. But that tiny shift in frequency is all you need that makes all the difference. So you let the how take care of itself. If you understand theoretical physics, the causal planes, dimensions 4 through 11, they're much, much smaller. They're 100 millionth the size of a proton. So it's actually in that small space that forms the blueprint for how the material world is shaped. So if we get in touch with that very small, tiny space, it unravels everything else very beautifully for us. So you'll naturally open up to new possibilities and opportunities that are already lying around you, really. And a great example of this was about 7 or 8 years ago when I started doing this. I was selling music online. And I hadn't sold an album in like a year or something like that. Like it's just something I forgot about. But I was doing a quantum leap for more prosperity and abundance. And I just wanted to feel really prosperous in my life. And I did it. And then the next day, somebody went and bought multiple discographies. So this was like quite expensive. They bought all my CDs several times over, which is weird. Normally people don't need all your CDs multiple times, but they did. And I just saw that as such a reflection of this opportunity that was already in my field. So you can see when you open yourself up, all of a sudden luck starts to conspire in your favor, which is a really, really cool feeling. So once you do that, you'll start to increase the number of synchronicities that are happening in your life and you'll feel like you're living in the flow. And of course, once that happens, you'll want to stay this way and not fall back into old patterns because we can get comfortable here. And when we get comfortable here, we don't see ourselves sliding slowly over time as we're being influenced by what's happening around us. So that's why new habits that support this shift in the long run are really important. And that's why, I talk about with my clients and the people that I work with is that having a routine that you build yourself that honors this flow is extremely important. So I'll give you an example of mine. I wake up in the morning, I lie in bed, I tune back into beingness. So I just let myself be, there's nothing there. Then I do some breath work to basically oxygenate my body and get my senses alivened. Then I do a quantum leap for the day. How is the best way I can make this day happen to align with my ideal reality? Usually about midway through the day after I've worked a bit, I'll go and I'll take a big walk in nature and I'll reflect and I'll let things digest. And then in the evening, I do a bit of Qigong, a little bit more of like yin style breath work, and then I'll do another quantum leap to reflect on the day, and that's it. So that's me after years of doing this, but in the beginning there was times where I only spent 10 or 15 minutes a day, but I got it up to about an hour and a half or 2 hours a day because I enjoy it, and it really actually resets me, and I notice the difference. So the sustainer, the maintenance is something that you can build up to over time to honor whatever you need, and so for you it might be completely different than what I do. So if you've heard this message and you really feel like this is exciting for you, like you want to take this journey, I actually have an invitation for you to do so. So if you haven't already, you can jump on my free 3-day Reveal and Heal Your Collective Wound using Trifecta. So this is basically going to give you a free reading, and it's going to give you a couple processes to begin to shift the part of the world around you, especially if the world outside of you looks a little bit like it's on the edge of collapsing or something weird's happening or there's a lot of like shady stuff going on, it's a way to untether that so it doesn't affect you anymore and you basically come back into your center. So that's where I like to get people to start with, to get to a safe place, as I call it. If you've already taken that journey, or you're just like, man, this sounds amazing and I want to go deeper, I've also got good news for you. Basically, there's a special event I'm running on Wednesday, July 31st and August 31st, and it's a Pay What You Want masterclass about quantum leaping to reveal your ideal reality. So it's helping you start to make that shift that allows everything to start moving in the direction of your bigger vision that I was elaborating on earlier. And really, it's the smallest move with the biggest impact, and it takes care of so much of the how. And that's also why I'm running it as Pay What You Want, because I think it's super important and I want it to be economically accessible for everybody. So there's going to be replays, there's going to be stuff I've never talked about before in here. It's going to be awesome, but you need to sign up before the event starts on Wednesday. And again, the link for this is in the description below. So I truly hope you've enjoyed this video, this art project as I call it, that's meant to inspire you and make you realize just how much power and potential you already have. So be sure to like this video, share it with anyone you think is open-minded and would enjoy it, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna catch you guys again soon. There's gonna be so much more amazing content that's already starting to come through me. That's gonna be released in the next couple of weeks, and it's gonna be awesome. See you soon.